There's been 3 times that I've had an out-of-body experience with the Lord, taken up somewhere in the Spirit. First one was when I was 6 years old. We had a very close family friend who was elderly. She used to come to my grandparents every Saturday and have coffee and tea. She always brought me something every single Saturday. For some reason, she just doted over me. She bought me baby dolls and Cabbage Patches and diapers. I was sleeping and I was awakened and taken somewhere in the Spirit. I was 6 years old. I was taken to her home and I watched her literally from her couch float up through her ceiling. And I seen the outfit she had on. She had white pearls. She had a black flower dress. She had black high heels with a small heel, and they were a pointed toe. And the next morning, my grandparents called because she had passed away. And this was my first death. So they were like, we have something to tell you. Something happened. I said, I already know Marietta died. I seen her. She went through the ceiling. And they were like, it was my first death, grief, anything like that. So we went to the funeral and she was wearing that outfit. She was absolutely wearing that. And I remember my grandma's face and I said, see, I told you. Second time I was 8 years old and I was at my grandparents, and all we had was PBS and an antenna. They didn't have no cable or nothing like that, or country folk. So the only thing I really got to watch was PBS, and there was this medical show on there, and it was surgery, and I had always loved that stuff. I mean, I loved blood and gore and body and all that stuff and how it functions. So I was watching that, and again, I was taken up in the Spirit, and I seen myself as a full-grown adult with blonde, curly hair. I had a clipboard, I had Cecil blue scrubs on, and I had white Nikes with a black check, and I was walking through the door at the hospital. I knew from that minute on that I was supposed to be a nurse. It was my calling from the Lord. I mean, as soon as that happened, I was like, that's the only thing I'm ever going to do. The third time, I was at home sleeping in my bed, and I literally had just worked on the house all day. It was perfect, and I loved when my house was perfect because of my trauma responses. But anyhow, I'm taken up in the Spirit again while I'm sleeping, and I'm downstairs at my sliding glass door, and Jesus is there. He wasn't knocking. He wasn't standing. He was just standing there. And you know what the first thing I said was, oh, thank God I cleaned the kitchen. Seriously, that was on my mind. I opened the door. I started laughing, and I said, you don't look how I thought you would look. And he started laughing. He was wearing a flannel shirt, long sleeve flannel shirt, and cargo pants. Seriously, he pulled the chair out for me to sit at the head of the table, and then he sat on the other side beside me. I have no idea what we talked about. I know it was something really important. I know it was something very, life force giving. But very shortly after that, I started having all my emergency surgeries and things like that. And I believe that Jesus was preparing me for what's to come. And I believe that he's told me what's going to come, but I just don't know it. There are glimpses when something happens. I'm like, Jesus, was that what you were telling me? And he confirms that it is. But those were 3 times that I had real encounters with the Lord. And all of them were very important. And all of them have made me the person that I am today. And I also believe the First Lady, Marietta, she could never have children. She couldn't physically do it. And as an adult, I'm thinking, was this person abused the ways that I was? Did she connect with me for that reason? So I don't know. I just think that it's very strange. I don't know why God let me see that, but he did. And that's just it. And God's amazing.